Arsenal Football Club have agreed personal terms with Gabriel Jesus. This is the claim, of course, after Chelsea and big interest from AC Milan has been announced. A number of outlets are starting to run with this story that they have been agreed. Of course, we saw Fabrizio Romano give us an update just a short while ago, all about Gabriel Jesus and where he will be. And he very much stated that Jesus will be staying in the Premier League. That is where he'll be, not going to Real Madrid, as explained a couple of days ago. He's got more to follow on that soon. Gabriel will leave Man City for sure. No changes expected. And of course, Arsenal Football Club want to get this deal done and over the line. There are reports that have come out in the last 24 hours that Arteta is angry, that Arteta is frustrated, that he's annoyed, that this isn't done, dusted, and over the line just yet. And I'm going to give you my take on that. We're also going to look at the situation in the Arsenal midfield because Yves Bissouma is currently being linked again. I'm seeing article saying he's bound for Arsenal, he's going to come in, and there are quite a lot of gooners I come across that are talking about he should be the priority signing over the number one target of Mikel Arteta, which remains and has been now since January, Youri Tielemans. We're going to delve into all that and much, much more on the Done Deal Show for you. Smash the like button, subscribe to the Football Terrace right now. Let's do this. Gabriel Jesus is quite close, as Mikel Arteta is told, to make further signings. Sources saying the personal terms are done and agreed. This news is starting to pick up pace. Now, what do personal terms being agreed mean? Well, it all depends upon the journalist. In fact, it all depends upon sometimes the individual listening to the news as well. An example I will give you on this is very much when you look at the situation right now with Tottenham Hotspur and Richarlison. And the reason I bring that up as an example is I believe that deal is on. I believe that deal is on. When I say a deal is on, I mean it is active and it is possible. And it's either being worked on proactively or it may be worked on at some point this window. It is a real deal that could happen. It just means it's on. Not advanced. Personal terms haven't been agreed. A done deal between the two clubs isn't close. It certainly isn't anywhere near completing, etc. For some people, when they think about a deal being on, they think, it's like in the midst of the advanced conversations. It's because there's no one set. A bit like, the world-class debate, when you say to somebody, what my world-class compared to your world-class compared to her world-class, we could give three completely separate definitions. Transfers have very much gone the same way. They've very much gone the same way. But when I look at this Gabriel Jesus situation, it's very simple to me. He wants to join Arsenal. There is number one right now. I think that is about as true as you can see. They are number one for him. That's what he wants. Arsenal have been working to get the price down. The question is why? If on average you get 10% of every single deal that you do, that might accumulate to 15, 20, 25 million pounds. Clubs want to save that money more so than spend it. It does come with its risks. AC Milan, Real Madrid linked to Gabriel Jesus. Chelsea have shown interest. The deal is on. The deal is open and active, not progressing at this moment in time. You always run the risk, especially when you do a great job like Arsenal have done in lowering that price. You can create a situation where other clubs come in. And I get that. For me is why the Daily Mail article came out. That is why I don't think Mikel Arteta is frustrated in any way, shape, or form. I don't think he is. I don't. I don't think he is. This deal, Jesus is going to stay in the Premier League. The personal terms element, as I'm about to explain now, I think he's done. Whether that means, because the article in the Mail said they haven't directly sat down with him and agreed personal terms. Yeah, I don't think you need to. And I don't go into it that it's a bit like the official bid isn't the important bid. The official bid is the last bit that happens before they accept. All the work goes in before. Intermediaries have definitely worked with Gabriel. He knows what Arsenal would offer. Personal terms are no problem. That's become the new phrase. Personal terms are no problem. Although Fabrizio Romano hasn't really used it this summer. But it means personal terms are done. They're not going to be a problem. They're done. Like, let's not argue over the semantics. And I think the semantics always come down to who the individual is arguing. Are they happy with the news, sad with the news, etc.? Is their YouTube channel getting as many views as that YouTube channel? It's generally a lot of personal feelings. It's not based on anything substantial. Semantics. Jesus wants to be an Arsenal player. Arsenal want him. That deal is heading towards being a done deal and completing and going over the line. That is the direction of which it's heading in. Of course, there are risks for Arsenal. We spoke about the Chelsea side of things in one of our previous videos. They're looking at Gabriel Jesus. The player is like, okay, Chelsea are interested, but they've made no offer via intermediaries or direct. They haven't really spoken too much to Manchester City. Certainly not made any kind of bids, informal or formal. Chelsea are more weighing up their options at the moment in the attacking areas. They're almost not ready to strike for someone like a Gabriel Jesus right now. Arsenal do need to make some haste with this and get it signed off. But right now, they're leading the race. A lot of outlets are reporting that the personal terms are done. A couple of journalists that I've spoken to have said they've been told the same thing, and they trust their sources as far as they can, that he is happy with the terms that have been offered. Of course, they've not been signed off on yet. They won't be. That actually officially comes after the bid's been accepted, but the bid don't come until the player says that he's happy with the terms. The whole thing is, it's not even a mess. It's a very simple process to it. It's the way it works. But that's it. Gabriel Jesus, very, very likely at this moment in time to be an Arsenal player. Next 7 to 10 days, I think Arsenal have got before it starts maybe looking a little bit hairy, but they're leading the way there. The other element I wanted to speak about today was very much the situation with the midfield. So Fabrizio Romano says that Arsenal have been interested in Yves Bissouma for months, but the priority is Youri Tielemans. Now, this is 110% a fact. And it's interesting, really, because Bissouma news has been circulating for a few days. And yes, I've read the articles. I've done my own research. I've reached out to some agents that I know. I've spoken to some journalists, some of which have come on the Terrace and others that are kind of more connected to Gimme Sport, and just had these conversations. What's going on with Bissouma? Why is nobody coming in for him? Is it the pending court case? And the feedback I've sort of had is maybe the court case, but the clubs have the ability, essentially, let's say you're Arsenal and you want to buy Bissouma. You speak to Bissouma's agents and say you want full disclosure and access to everything connected to this case, their defense and the prosecution's case. Of course, you'll sign a non-disclosure agreement and a confidentiality agreement so you don't tell anybody about it. But as long as if you see it, you can make a judgment call. If you see it and think, it's going to get thrown out, isn't it? You can make a call. If you look at it and think he's banged to rights, you don't sign the guy. And that was the way it was fed back into me. And I thought that makes a lot of sense. If they can go and get the facts or the information or the evidence and from the parties involved and kind of go from there. So then it leads to the question, why? West Ham have turned down the chance to sign Yves Bissouma. Arsenal Football Club like him. Arsenal Football Club have looked at him. The reason I bring him up and connect him to Arsenal, though, is there's been a number of stories that I've read where the headline has said, Bissouma destined for Arsenal, close to Arsenal. I've seen Arsenal fans doing think pieces. We should be buying Bissouma. He's better than Youri Tielemans. And I'm going to ask you the question, Arsenal fans, would you prefer Yves Bissouma to Tielemans? I don't care whether one's more expensive than the other, different price, same price, don't care. The player I'm talking about here, which of the two would you prefer? 9 minutes into the stream, I'm going to know how many of you have watched this stream this far. Who wants him? That's what I want to know from you right now. I'm just going to pause for a second and let you think. Who do you want? I'll tell you what Arsenal need is a more forward-thinking central midfielder. Someone that can essentially pick up what Granit Xhaka is meant to do on the left side of the three in the 4-3-3 that was developed over the course of last season. That's what needs to happen, I think, for most people, most Arsenal fans anyway. Can Bissouma do that job in a more of an advanced role? Can he do a better job than Tielemans? Defensively, of course he can. But is he going to play in that central role over Thomas Partey? Is Bissouma willing to be a backup at Arsenal when he could be a first teamer at Brighton, first teamer at clubs the size of Aston Villa, Newcastle's, etc.? I'm throwing some names out there. Some have been, some haven't been linked. Is he good enough to do that? For me, the answer is no. And I spoke to some gooners about this who, very well, articulated very, very well to me, some of which the likes of Adam Charles. Of course, I spoke to Jess about this. What do you think? What do you reckon? It's always good to speak to fans of the club, what they feel. I agree with them. This needs to be a Youri Tielemans style player. And I think a lot of people are underrating him because Leicester had a bad year. He's still that same player that people would have paid 50, 60 million pounds for 12 months ago. Doesn't mean Bissouma's a bad player, but there's something about him. No one's going out their way to buy him. What are we missing? Maybe it is the case. Maybe it's a personality thing we're not aware of. Maybe he's hard to get on with. Maybe he falls out with people a lot. Or is it something about his play that we as fans are just not seeing and understanding? I'd like to know. But as things stand right now, I'm informed by people that I trust, journalists that I trust, that Arsenal are not actively pursuing anything to do with Yves Bissouma. Of course, I'll keep an eye on it, and it is an open deal. You can call it on if you want. I don't mind. I'm not saying it about this. It's even less than that for me. If Tielemans was to sign for another football club, maybe Arsenal would look at it. That, for me, feels the only realistic way that Bissouma is going to be pursued by Arsenal Football Club this summer. That's it. So the story saying it's close or it's going to happen, I don't think are true. Any Arsenal fan that wants him, please explain in the comments section below why and where you play him, squad status, etc. I'm intrigued to hear your opinion on that. I really, really am. Personal terms are no problem and/or agreed when it comes to Gabriel Jesus. According to a number of sources, a number of media outlets, Fabrizio has confirmed he will be staying in the Premier League. So essentially, it's Arsenal, Chelsea, Tottenham. It's only going to be one of it's literally only going to be one of those three teams, and Arsenal are leading that race. Until next time, people, take care. Goodbye.